Hello, and welcome to Cheers. That's one woman's opinion. I am your host, Carolyn Mills. Today we'll be looking at Cheers Season 3, Episode 14, The Heart is a Lonely Snipe Hunter. And I want to let everyone know July 9th, which is on a Thursday, I think. If I remember correctly, it's on a Thursday. But anyway, I'm having surgery on both wrists for carpal tunnel, and they said I should be able to use my hands right away. Hopefully the pain won't be too bad. Um, so hopefully the podcast will not be canceled that week, but we'll see how everything goes. Um, but that's 2 weeks off. I just want to give you all a heads up, but I don't think it'll be an issue from what I understand. So, The Heart is a Lonely Snipe Hunter. This episode first aired January 10th, 1985. It was directed by James Burrows and written by Rhea Perlman's sister Heidi Perlman. Guest cast: Alan Koss as Alan, Tim Cunningham as Tim, Walter Smith as customer number one, Kim L. Elliott as customer number two, H.B. Newton as customer number three, Kelsey Grammer as Dr. Fraser Crane. Did I say Grammer or did I say Kramer? Kelsey Grammer as Dr. Fraser Crane. I may have misspoke on that. Cheers is filmed in front of a live studio audience was said by no one. It was not said in this episode. So let's go ahead and jump into the recap. In our summary, cold open. Everyone is singing on the sunny side of the street one by one. One of the customers leaves and another comes in singing as he passes her on the stairwell. He orders a beer and then Coach sings, "I've got spurs that jingle, jingle, jingle." Where everybody knows your name plays. The barflies smell something and try to figure out what it is. Coach is smoking a cigar. This seemed really random to me because we've never seen Coach smoke a cigar. Um, so it just like yeah, very random. This was an odd episode in general, but and this was part of it. He asks if anyone minds, and Carla tells him, "Not if you put the let end on your mouth." I actually, sorry, throat dry. I actually think cigars smell better than cigarettes. I'm very anti-smoking, so I wouldn't want to smoke anything. But as far as the smell itself goes, cigars I think smell a lot better than cigarettes do. And again, that's just one woman's opinion. Norm comes in and asks about the smell. Coach tells Norm to let him know if it bothers him. When Norm says it does, Coach responds, "Join the club." Another thing that seemed kind of odd, and I've mentioned this before, the last few episodes, and I don't know if it's we're getting near the end of Nicky Calasanto's life. Um, he died on February 12th, 1985, and we're in this episode was done in January. And of course they filmed them ahead of time, but um this season, especially near the end here, Coach seems more combative, I guess. Like he insults Cliff more. Um, he's kind of snappy, edgy. It's like a different coach than he was the first two seasons. I think a lot of that may have to do with the fact that Nick Santo had been sick. He had heart problems, obviously. Um, but I see it here again when he says join the club. It's like that snarky, "I'm gonna do what I want to do and I don't care." And obviously this is how it's written because the line is join the club. So it's really no not well. There's really no way to say that that doesn't sound kind of snarky because it's a snarky line. But yeah, it's like a whole different coach. And I think part of it's like I said, parts the actual dialogue he was given, and part of it I think was him being sick. Just my thoughts. Diane comes from the back and smells the cigar. She asks Sam if it's a new cologne, noting, "It's a step up." Norm and Sam are getting ready to go fishing. Cliff horns his way into going with them. Then the other barflies invite themselves as well. Well, funny beat there where Cliff is kind of annoyed that others are trying to horn their way in when he's done exactly the same thing. For some reason, my chair feels lower today. I wonder if it's slipped down again. I have to like measure where my head is from. Okay, so Frasier comes in having, and I quote this, a bad day, a bad week, a bad month. End quote. He orders a scotch. Sam also notices that Frasier looks troubled. Frasier explains that it's hard seeing the same people every day with the same problems. Sam tells him, lock Diane out of the apartment. Frasier explains that Diane is my salvation. He explains his patients are the issue, and the only way it could be any worse would be if I actually listened to them. I always loved that line. The whole, if I actually listened to them. Because I can't imagine a actual professional psychiatrist saying that where people could hear him that and we know he's had patients there obviously. Sam was one of his patients. Diane was not his patient, but she worked at the place where he did, so I keep losing my place. I've been having a lot of trouble focusing this week. I've told you guys before I have ADHD and I'm pretty much sidetracked about every 2 seconds. I'm not sure why, just been a but there's a lot going on, and as things get closer to different things, I'll tell my listeners what's going on. Some exciting news, but it's going to be a while, maybe a year or so. So stay tuned. So where are we? Okay. Coach tells Frazier that he understands how he feels because he's always listening to other people's problems as a bartender. And Coach says whatever problems people have, he makes them feel better by thinking of a bigger problem. He then tells Frazier, you're going bald. Frazier responds, I am. Well, now I'm depressed and losing my hair. Coach then points out the huge mole on Frazier's neck. Frazier tells him, please, Coach, no more. I'm all cheered up. The gang are ready to go fishing. Frazier calls the idea of fishing idyllic. Diane asks Sam if there's room for Frazier. Sam reluctantly invites Frazier, who accepts. Diane tells Sam to take good care of Frazier. Diane sounds like Frazier's too. And it's pretty much this whole episode, she kind of acts like he's like a 2-year old that can't handle himself. Carla asks Coach why he is not going, and Coach tells her it's because the guys stink. Not the fish, the guys. Later, Coach and Carla decide to do some Red Sox trivia. However, they've played so much they know the answers before the other one asks a question. This is a great scene. It's very short. But one's asking and before they even finish, the other one's answering. And then at one point he says, was your answer gonna be or sorry, was the answer to your question gonna be? And he gives the answer, and she's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't pay this anymore. Nice little funny bit there. The men return, sans Frazier. Diane asks where he is, and the guys start cracking up laughing. Sam explains that Frazier's in the woods, snipe hunting. Carla is also amused. Diane does not understand the humor. Sam explains that that there's no such thing as a snipe. From what I read on IMDb, apparently this is not true. There actually is something called a snipe. I don't remember what it is. You all can check out IMDb, but I saw it on there. So Diane accuses them of abandoning Frazier in the woods. Again, kind of acting like his 2-year-old can't handle himself. Sam says it's a rite of passage. All guys fall for it. Diane asks if he did. Sam says no, but all his friends did, and they had a great time. Diane says that Frazier is sensitive and trusting. She adds that they took advantage of that for a childish prank. Sam says that he will go back and find Frazier. However, Frazier comes in and says they got him hooked on snipe hunting. However, he claims he feels badly for letting the others down. He buys the guys a drink. Diane wants to speak to him, but he says he's bonding with the guys. And that is kind of nice to see Frazier's getting more what's the word I want? He's not a regular yet, but he's getting there. You can see it. He's becoming more in tune with the body. I don't know if tune's the right word. Um you can tell he's in the direction of becoming regular. I'm sure there's a simple way to say that, but in my world there's no simple ways to do anything. Frazier makes a toast to snipe hunting. He says that he understands why guys fish and hunt. Cliff says that it's too bad he didn't catch the snipe. They're about to tell him the truth when Diane suggests he goes and freshens up. Diane says that Frazier has always been the odd man out. Sam says that he's never experienced being left out. Coach asks him, "What about when I told you you weren't invited to the Red Sox alumni dinner this year?" And again, this seems kind of weird to me. Why would, and I know he was a coach, but why would Sam not get invited, but yet a coach would, not a player? That seems kind of weird. Like it's almost like in this episode, they had random props and random dialogue that made no sense to the characters just to do this particular script. It's like, let's tell a story about a guy who goes snipe hunting. And then we'll just make up stuff as we go along, even if it has nothing to do with anything else. And I know continuity has always been an issue in old school TV shows, pre-internet that is. I get that. But I'm not talking about continuity. I'm talking about it all just seems random on this one. In a way, it's continuity, but it's just more randomness. Sam is disappointed. Coach feels bad and tells him they're not even having a dinner this year. He then asks for Saturday off. Cliff tells Sam that they need to tell Frazier. Diane disagrees and says Frazier would never find out on his own. She adds that Frazier thinks of Sam as one of his closest friends. And again, Sam reluctantly agrees. And I thought, as this was the second time he reluctantly agreed, Diane pretty much has Sam wrapped around her little finger. Diane says to just let the matter drop. Frazier overhears and says, I deserted my post and now I need a woman to defend my case. Cliff says that Frazier can try to catch the snipe again. Frazier can't believe they'll allow him another chance. He says that tonight is a full moon, and Sam says snipe run best when it's a full moon. They are about to leave when Diane asks to speak to Frazier. They go into Sam's office. She tells Frazier that there's no such thing as a snipe, but Frazier already knows. He is planning to get back at the guys. He tells her his plan to get them to pose for a photo. Then, when they disappear into the woods, he'll return to make her one of his favorite almonds. This part confused me a little. He um he says he's gonna get them to pose for a photo, so they'd all be still, that means, and maybe like and they'd all be together, in other words. And then he says, and then when they run to the forest, or sorry, to the woods, um, he's supposed to be catching the snipe. So it seems like he would be the one running into the woods, and then they would leave. So that whole thing here seemed kind of weird to me. So after he says he'll make her the omelets, they go back out into the bar. Frasier tells the others that Diane tried to tell him there's no such thing as a snipe. As they are leaving, Sam tells Diane, I'm sorry, but swear to you, years to come, we're all gonna sit back and laugh over this. Diane says they won't all be laughing. Discussion. When I wrote this up, I gave it 3.5 beer nuts, and now I think I'm gonna drop it down to a three. Um, yeah, I think I'm going with three beer nuts. It was okay, but it's just so random. It's definitely not one of my favorites. It was pretty good, but it wasn't great. I mean, it was okay, like I said. I think Kelsey Grammer shined like he always does. Um, Shelley Long always good. Coach seemed random. Um, Sam seemed to almost like he could have just stayed home that day and they could have done the whole show without him because he spent it's just very random to me. I'm just not fond of this episode. But I mean, it's bound to happen. 11 good years, you're going to get a occasional not so great episode. And I didn't hate it, just random. Kind of reminds me Golden Girls. There's an episode, it's actually a backdoor. I don't remember what the episodes are called in that show, but it's a backdoor pilot that obviously didn't work out. And it had Rita Moreno and some other people who I don't know. And Rita Moreno and her husband on the episode, their daughter is dropping out of school. I think she's dropping out of school. Maybe she's pregnant, maybe it was both. I don't remember. Okay. This is a Cheers recap. I don't have to recap Golden Girls. But literally in the entire show, the actual Golden Girls, I think, appeared for like 5 seconds. And it made no sense why it was a Golden Girls episode. And here the Cheers cast are here, but it still seems so random to me. So MVP was Kelsey Grammer, and I am going to share screen. Let me get it up first to show you one of the reasons Kelsey Grammer is MVP. Give me 1 second. I need to zoom, share screen. Oh, I gotta share screen with sound. Okay. So once this shows up, I'll play it and I will show you one of the reasons Kelsey Grammer to be MVP of this episode because I love this. Cliff did it earlier, but Kelsey did it a lot better. You should see it soon. There we go. Okay, so let me play it. Okay, I don't know if you guys can hear that. All right, let me try it again because I think my computer went whackers. So we're gonna try that one more time, and hopefully this time it'll work. Okay, so apparently that didn't work, unless I'm just not hearing it, which is always a possibility since I can't hear. But I'll leave it in case. But that was him doing the snipe call, and um, he's just so talented. I understand kind of why Shelley Long felt threatened because he was definitely. I mean, he definitely is talented. It's not like he died. Um, both on Cheers and the Frasier's, that being the Frasier and the Frasier reboot. His movies. He's just a very talented man. For best dressed, we have Norm Peterson here. Sam Lowe could be a contender too, but I love his little fishing outfit here. And we're used to seeing Norm in a suit and tie because he's an accountant, so it's kind of nice to see him. Actually, I don't think he wears a tie, just a suit, but nice to see him as a regular person. Sometimes he wears a tie because they make comments about food on his tie. Grand Slam line. Cliff, I don't want to infringe on you and Norm's good time. Norm says, you're going to have to if you want to come along. On baseline, Frasier's in the office talking to Diane. It's what guys do, Diane. We screw each other over to the wall. Boy, it's good to be one of the boys, I'll tell you. Here's a little known fact. The title of this episode came from the Carson McCullers novel, The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. In fact, when I first started the episode, when I introduced it, I almost said The Heart is a Lonely Snipe Hunter. Wait, that is the name of it. The Heart is a Lonely Snipe Hunter. Oh, I almost said The Heart. I don't know what I almost said, but I somehow almost messed it up. But I'll say I didn't. And let me get the background off before I do all that other stuff that I always do. So that way you guys can see everything. Oh, I love live things where it's all random. Okay. So now we're going to, well, actually, we're at the end when I give you all the information. So if you like this episode, please like, subscribe, follow, click all the buttons you find. And you can join our Facebook group, Cheers, That's One Woman's Opinion. And you can follow us on Instagram at Cheers One Woman's Opinion Podcast. Follow us on Twitter X at One Woman Opinion. Again, no S. Follow us on Reddit, Cheers Rewatch Podcast. And you can always email us at Cheers One Woman's Opinion Podcast at gmail.com. Next week, we'll be doing Cheers Season 3, Episode 15, King of the Hill. And on Wednesday next week, June 24th, Look for a bonus episode. I'll be interviewing Frank Collison, who played Horace Bing in Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. And if you have any questions for Frank Collison, please do any of these. You can send it to the Facebook group. You can send it to Instagram. You can send it to Twitter. You can send it to Reddit, and you can send it to the email account, cheers one woman's opinion podcast. Let me do that again. Cheers one woman's opinion podcast at gmail.com. And you can always comment on here because I'm going to be doing the interview questions. I just need them by Sunday at the latest because I'll start writing them up on Monday. And we'll see you next week for King of the Hill. And that's one woman's opinion.